What's up? Good morning, cuz.
Been a while.
Hey, listen, I got to tell you, I'm at this facility in Frisco, Texas called the Cosm. It's like new age, right? But I'm in this room because we got OL Masterminds going on right now.
Yeah.
So all guys are talking, they're going through like film work and everything. But I'm in this room. So Dion Dawkins, our good friend, he's got a production team about the protector of the year. So they're literally shooting a documentary in this room I'm in. All his producers are right here in front of me. They got cameras everywhere, lights. So anyways, I know you'd appreciate the fact that Doc's got this group, and it's going to be really cool, because nobody's ever given any award or recognition to an offensive lineman before to this level, like player of the year, or, all that kind of stuff. So Doc's the one that really pushed it. So he's got his own production team.
I love it.
It's actually putting this whole thing together right now.
I think that's brilliant. You got to be in it.
Brilliant.
You're in it,
Yeah.
aren't you?
I mean, here I am. Yeah, they want me to, give my 2 cents or whatever. So,
of course.
Yeah, Doc is literally he's sitting next to me in this in this room right now. We have 300 players from college and the NFL all here with coaches and Hall of Fame players, and so he's literally sitting right next to me. Him and Kevin Mawai. So we're just Doc isn't a big note taker. He just kind of plays the game his own style. I'm a note taker, so I'm writing all these notes down. Lane Johnson's taking all these notes. Doc is just sitting there going, I just got to know 3 guys. I'm going to see 3 guys on Sunday. If I don't know 3 guys, by the time I play on Sunday, that's on me. I don't need all these notes.
So take us through the O-line masterminds and what the sessions are like, and what it's been like down there. I love this. You were at the SAC Summit. I mean, this is so cool.
Well, what's cool is it's all like Lane started this with the guy Duke Manyweather, who trains offensive linemen down here in Dallas, and really the league, like they sit like I was just talking to the offensive line coach of the Commanders yesterday, Bobby Johnson. He sent 2 of his guys to go train with Duke. You need to understand that you're strong as hell. You don't have to get stronger, but you need to just master some techniques. So those guys are here, but Lane and Duke started because they thought sharing information and wisdom and knowledge amongst each other. And it's not to belittle any coaches out there in the league, but sometimes you got to have the coach inside of you. Sometimes you need to hear it from a different voice. Sometimes you need to see a player go through his set on film and what he's done, where his eyes go, where his hands go, how his feet. Lane is unusual because he's such a freak athlete and still is.
Yeah.
But Lane's there. He's still taking notes in year 13. He's still asking questions. But what was cool yesterday is what I'm helping to do is bridge the generations together. So, for example, Joe Thomas was here yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, Joe Thomas, Hall of Famer, right? Tony Baselli was here yesterday. So Will Campbell, who's the first offensive lineman taken, 4th pick by the New England Patriots at LSU.
Yep.
So he comes, I'm listening to Lane in his breakout session, talking to all these kids. And this kid taps me on the shoulder and just says, hey, I'm Will Campbell. I just want to introduce myself. You did a ton of videos on me this year. So I said, so come here, Will. So I introduced Will to Lane. Then I go, well, Will's a left tackle. Let me go introduce him to Joe Thomas and to Tony Baselli and let him talk to him. So we're kind of bridging these generations of players at key positions. So it's really cool to be able to do that. Like, for example, Caden Proctor is still at Alabama, and he's going to come out this year.
Yeah.
So and he's a left tackle at Alabama. He's a great kid. So I introduced him to Joe Thomas, and Joe was like kind of, he was sweet talking to kid and all that. And then I introduced him to Tony Baselli. And Baselli's like, look, Caden, I've watched all your tape. Like, if you play like you did this year, next year, I'm not even going to put you on my board. He goes, what are you talking about, coach? And he said, look, you got to finish plays better. You got to, some of these pressures you gave up last year, you have no business giving up. He read, and so the general manager of Jacksonville was there too, James Gladstone. And so I go, I go to James, I'm like, man, your boy Baselli, man, is reading this kid to riot on. He goes, I wish you would do that to my own players on the team. But some of these guys got to hear it. They got to hear it, hard coaching. It's important, don't just be listening to your coach blow smoke up your ass.
Right.
You need to be, if you want to be great And so all these players that were there yesterday, Will Shields, Kevin Mawai, Joe Thomas, they were talking about what hard coaching was and is and why it was important to them to go to the next step.
What did Lane talk about Stout and what makes him such an O line wizard?
He has not done that, and I've been here for 7 of the 8 years now. Lane brought me here back in like 2019. He wanted coverage from the NFL Network, so I came down. So I've been coming every year since. But I feel like, I actually asked Lane yesterday because he's an outlier from this standpoint. Same organization, same offensive line coach for 13 years. Nobody gets that luxury. Nobody.
Right.
So there's some great coaches in this. Bobby Johnson, Washington's, I think, is really good. Aaron Cromer, Buffalo is really good. Andy Heck in Kansas City. Like, there's great coaches. But what I wanted Lane to speak to was, what if you don't have that luxury? What if you're in one of these organizations that just has this turnover, new coaches, new general manager, new way of doing things, can't retain their players. They just aren't fortunate enough to get the stability that Lane's had. So Lane talked about that without really talking about Stout.
What can you compare and contrast when you played? Like, think about, you playing guard and center and doing everything, and to now, and I mean, it's pretty awesome. The technique, the devotion to detail, right? Like, what we're seeing now is it at the a PhD level?
It's a great question. And honestly, we got high school kids that are here now. Like, Lane was introducing me to this kid from Prosper, Texas, and he's going to Texas A&M. All right, next year he's going to Texas A&M. But Lane met him 2 years ago, and Lane trained some kids in Oklahoma, down here in Dallas. So like he's into the whole technique and fundamentals and toolbox and all that stuff. But now the kid is 6'6" and he's 290. When Lane met him, he was 245. Like, these kids they're so much bigger, they're so much stronger, they're so much faster than any of us in our era. Now, what they don't have is the amount of time on the field that we once had.
Right.
They don't get 2-a-days. They don't get all these, every day in pads to really work on the technique. And so then we start drilling these kids and how important walkthroughs are and how it's actually a good thing that you can actually hone your techniques, keep your knees bent,
Right.
like getting your hands and feet together, getting to your spot, your contact spot, all these things you could do in walkthroughs. Like Baselli was saying, like, you got to win your walkthrough. Like, you can't get beat in a walkthrough. Like, so the mentality has changed, even though the players, like I took a shot yesterday with Tyler Booker, J.C. Latham, and Caden Proctor, all Alabama kids. Like, I mean, I'm 255 and I look like a midget next to these guys.
Yeah.
Like, Tyler Booker is a man.
Yeah.
Like, he's square. Like, and he's, I congratulate him because I met him last year. And like, these kids honestly are here because camp starts in 2 weeks. These kids are here. They're taking notes. They're asking questions. I was with Kevin Mawai yesterday during his breakout session. And these kids that are playing center or want to play center, like, they're asking great questions to Kevin. One techniques, nose tackles, how to, read fronts and coverages and how to change protections. Like, they're into it. Like, this, we all wish this still was around when we played, because we didn't get this kind of luxury.
No, I think about that a lot because, you go into these things, the SAC Summit, now the NBA OL Masterminds. Then I think about your career, and it was, you're drinking beers and going out and hunting, and like you're playing basketball and doing stuff like that, and you didn't have this, and you're such a sponge. Like, you love your mind, like, your mind needs to be fed. And that's why I think this is cool.
It's cool. You ask about, like, what do we do? Well, I mean, yesterday we put up some of the great pass rushers, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, and then what they're in this OL Masterminds, they do a great job of really dissecting each player and their strengths. And so we're like, okay, what's Myles Garrett's strength like? So Joe Thomas was talking to us about Myles Garrett because they played 1 year together in Cleveland. And Joe's like, all right, how do I win against Myles Garrett? And he was like, when he first came into the league, he never used his hands. It was all first step quickness, uh, the power of a locomotive, turning the corner the way he turned the corner. But he's like, he didn't use his hands. So Joe's like, I got to get my hands on him. It's quicker. Like he's not doing anything to knock him off. He's just using his strength in his body. Now Myles has improved a lot, but like we're training guys to learn how to watch film to find out what the weakness is. Like Dion Dawkins was up yesterday. Doc has a completely different style of play than any left tackle in the league.
Right.
He likes to widen his end. He gets away from the guard. Now, depending on who it is. But they got pictures of him. Like Jared Verse was Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. Like he literally annihilated Jared Verse. He chopped his hands down every time he came with a long arm. He chopped his technique to chop his hands down and then to roll the guy and sit on the guy, literally. Five times in that game, he had Jared Verse on the ground. He's sitting on top of him. Like he just took the fight to him. So, and he didn't get beat either. So it was a great day for Doc. But like Doc was talking about what works for him. It doesn't work for everybody else. So guys can really have their chance to talk about what works for them, what they do, what their preparation is like, because everybody has a different body type that's in this room. And so not everybody has Lane Johnson's footwork, where he's always balanced, he's always ready, he's never on the ground. Like that's unusual. But how can you try to watch Lane and his kick and his vertical set, and then what can I take away from Lane that I can apply myself?
I was thinking about this. We talk a lot about Jalen Carter, right? And like, how would you attack Carter? Like, I'm fascinated. You have all these great O linemen, all these minds, offensive line minds. Like, he completely wrecked Kansas City. Spags called me the other day. I was talking to him, and we got on the subject. He's like, because he loved doing the interview with us, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, people come up to me all the time, and he goes, I've been on all those shows. He goes, the one they always talk about is you and Baldy. And I was like, laughing. He goes, and I still can't get that. I'm watching Carter, and he's blowing us up. And, we're talking about, what do you do against him?
Well, I mean, first thing is he literally draws a double team every play. So it doesn't matter where they kind of move him around a little bit. I think they should move him around more than they do. He's usually over the right guard, either in a 3 technique, a head up. But he's now understanding that when the slide comes, it's probably better, like Aaron Donald did, to try to beat the guard on his upfield shoulder, because he's going to have, 4 eyes and 4 hands and 2 bodies going on him inside. Now, he still wins. He can still split that slide protection right there, like he did against the Rams at the end of the game to win that game for the Eagles. But it becomes difficult. I was talking to Nolan Smith about this at the Sack Summit, and like if you're a guard, you want to set short, because he's very powerful, and try to get on him as quickly as you can. Now he's got the ability to swat you, to rip you, like he can swim you. He can do all those things. So you got to be careful if you're inside. You don't want to get beat inside on the kid. But what happens is if you set high on him, and then the tackle is setting for the speed of Nolan Smith, you're going to get on different levels between guard and tackle. And Nolan Smith got an easy sack on 3rd down against Green Bay in a playoff game to Jordan Love because the guard was setting high, and the tackle, Zach Tom, like he just opened up this gate for him to go in. Now they fell into that. That wasn't a designed stunt. They fell into it, and once Jalen saw Nolan go inside, he knew he had to cover him outside in case Jordan Love busted outside against the pressure. So it's the games that they can run, and they call the games themselves. I was talking to Nolan about this. They call the games themselves. It's not from the sideline. And so they have a lot of freedom up front to run some of these games that they do.
That when you come home, that's a story we got to do, because those two together, those 2 chess pieces.
I mean, they're both Pro Bowl players,
right?
Perennial Pro Bowl players. Just the way, Landon Dickerson and Mulata are Pro Bowl players. Like This is a Pro Bowl left side of the Eagles' defensive line. I believe that Jalen and Nolan are going to go to multiple Pro Bowls together.
Yeah, yeah. Um, hey, I love your stories, and one of the things that always stood out to me was you told me a story years and years ago about July 4th, and you were like, you know, I once July 4th hit, my mind switched.
Totally.
Right?
It did as a player. July 4th would come. I remember one time I was on this lake in Austin on July 4th, and we're like shotgunning Coors Lights, and we're having a great time out there. And people are looking at me like, "Aren't you going to training camp soon?" I go, "This is it. Like, this is my last day. I'm enjoying this day." And it's like we'd go to camp in Dallas like July 13th, 15th, whatever. We went pretty early because we had a long camp. But I just learned how to just shut it down. Now, I'm saying that tomorrow I'm taking my girlfriend to Japan and Korea for 10 days. But I just got my training camp schedule. I literally go every single day from July 26th straight through to 13 camps, and then end up in LA for like literally 16 straight days. I'll be gone, including the Hall of Fame game in Canton this summer. I'll be there. So it'll be great because I'll see Eric Allen there. I'll see Sterling Sharp, guys I've even worked with or played with. So that's going to be fun. But my mentality is I'm here. Like I'm all football right now. Like I am gonna, take 10 days here and go to Asia. But like honestly, like that's it. Like mentally, I've already shut it down.
Yeah, I love that thing because it reminded me because I got a smile on July 5th thinking about your story going, I can't wait, man, because it's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
Well, I went to Key Island, Murata on July 4th this year, right? We had friends down there. They were staying to play. Oh, well, we'll go down there. That's fine. But like they stayed July 5th and they came back on the 6th. I'm like, one day's enough for me. I'm driving back on the day after, whatever that was, Saturday afternoon. I drove back. I'm like, that was enough. Like I had a good night. It was fun, fireworks, good times, good people. But I was literally already mentally. I'm like, I'm done. Like I'm getting ready for the season.
Yeah, yeah. There's this is like now the it's comes, man. I can't. I'm so excited, man. I can't wait for it. And the way this Eagle, to bring it back to Philadelphia, I mean, Baldy, they're just so good. Like you think about, they're doing the top 100 players in the league on ESPN, and the Eagles 10 are a lock, and they could probably have 13, 14.
Well, you can almost take almost every single position on offense and put them on that list at some point, wherever you want to put them.
Right.
I don't understand some of these quarterback rankings and where Jalen's not in the top 10 quarterback. He just went to 2 Super Bowls in 4 years. And he won one, and he was the MVP of the game. And he was great in the first game, except for the one fumble. All right, the ball got knocked out of his hands. But I mean, guy's been in the postseason every single year. He's got 6 postseason wins in his 6-year career. Like it took Peyton Manning like 12 years to get his 6th win. Like we're talking about a bona fide Hall of Fame player. It took him 12 years to get 6 wins. He's got 6 playoff wins and a Super Bowl win. He's been up. So but they are going to get challenged. Like I'm doing their first. I'm excited, man. I'm doing the opening game of the season against Dallas. So I get the NFC East in the first week. I get Dallas and Philly on Thursday night, and then I get the Giants and Washington on Sunday.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
It's going to be awesome. And I'm going to see Washington and Philly for training camp shows that I'm doing. So I'll be in both those places. But I'll tell you a quick story that was fascinating to me because coaches are psychiatrists, right? Like they got to be. You got to get inside. So anyways, a good friend of mine is the offense line coach in Washington, and he got Bobby Johnson. He's a great coach. He coached Dion up in Buffalo when he was first there. But he gets fired by the Giants. He's out there on the street, and he's trying to get back in. And, he got fired because every single guy on his offense line got hurt, and he was playing backups to backups, and they were terrible. Anyways, he gets blown out, so he's trying to get back in. So he ends up hooking up with Cliff Kingsbury via one of Cliff's quarterbacks at Texas Tech, Davis Mills. And he ends up getting hired by Washington. He didn't know Dan Quinn, but Like he answered, like he interviewed with them a bunch of times. They really liked him. They brought him on board as the offensive line coach. So I know Bobby, I don't know, 8, 10 years now, whatever. So he tells me the story yesterday that he gets to Washington and he's kind of like living in the past about getting fired. He gained 80 pounds. He was stressing out, like all this stuff. It was bad, like bad juju, right? So one day, Dan Quinn, and he's like telling everybody about his, it was just living in the, so Dan Quinn calls him in the weight room one day and he's lifting weights and he gives him a dumbbell to hold. So he's holding this 40-pound dumbbell and he goes, come on, take a walk with me. So, Bobby doesn't want to say, like, why am I holding this dumbbell or what's this all about? Or is this coaching technique, whatever? So they end up walking around the facility and it's like 20 minutes and he's still holding this dumbbell. And he goes, now put the dumbbell in the other hand. And when he puts it into the other hand, it's on the dumbbell, it says New York Giants. And it was getting heavy. He goes, you carry that weight around with you, it's going to wear you down. And that was the message from Dan Quinn to Bobby Johnson. You think about the level of thought that went into that.
Awesome.
It's awesome. Like the metaphor is so strong.
Ow.
And so when you talk to coaches, when they start telling you these kind of things, it's things that just stay with you. Players, I was talking to Kevin Mawai today. He started in Seattle, played 15 years. He started 260 games. He's telling me this story when he goes to visit Bill Parcells with the New York Jets, and he was going to New Orleans. He was a big free agent signing. And so he brings his wife with him on this trip. And Parcells says to him, give me your phone. And he goes, what do you want my phone for, coach? He goes, I don't want you calling anybody else. And he goes, well, I don't know if this is my spot. And he goes, so Parcells goes into this binder that he pulls off the shelf. And he has the entire vision laid out for the upcoming season, which was 1998. And they ended up going to the AFC Championship game that year. But he has this whole vision for the team. And he tells to Kevin, like in the binder, like Andy had the binder, right? So Parcells got his binder. In his binder, the most important acquisition to this team is the center position. And you're the guy that is the missing piece on this team.
Wow.
And right there, Mawai signed on the dotted line.
Wow.
He canceled all the other visits.
Wow. That's deep.
So, we love stories, cuz, right? I mean, we're the meat locker guys.
Awesome.
Like, you hear these stories, they just stay with you. Like, there's merit to it. And there's a connection that can work with any group of people when you hear some of these stories.
Of course. And that's why that's why those guys win, right? Because guys like that, when you're talking about Parcells and you talking about these stories, they mean something. Like, I love the Dan Quinn story. Like, of having him carry that dumbbell for 20 minutes and
not know why I'm carrying it, knowing
Right.
it's heavy, like my arm's getting tired. And then he turns that thing over and it says New York Giants. And he said right there, he never mentioned the situation ever again.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Like, that's not, and it's funny because great coaches, they just don't tell you, right? Like, they show you, they bring it out of you. Like, it's not just like telling somebody, no, drop it. Because most guys would be like, shut the bleep up about the Giants. I don't hear anything more about it, right? But this is now teaching him, show him how to fish. That's how you feed a hungry man.
Yeah, give him the why. Give him the why, man. Let him know. And there's different ways. They're psychiatrists, man. They just know how to. Because you think about what Dan Quinn just did.
Yeah.
Like, that was a moribund franchise from Daniel Snyder's tenure all the way through. It was horrible. Coaches, GMs, Josh Harris buys it. He hires Dan Quinn. In 1 year, they go from last place to literally winning 14 games and meeting the Eagles in a championship game, going to Detroit and just wiping them off the map. Like, it's an unbelievable turnaround. It can happen, but that's why to this day, coaching at the NFL level is the most important coaching in any sport.
You're so right. My brother, listen, Have a safe trip. Why Asia? Is it a new frontier for you?
No, I've been to Tokyo before, but my girlfriend was like, I said, look, I'm going to go 16 straight days. I ain't going to see you. Probably won't even talk to you. I'm doing football for 16 straight days. I'll reward you for being a good chick. We'll go over to. She wants to. In Korea, they have some things that women like. So like, do your thing in Korea. I don't care.
A lot of like skin products and stuff.
Yeah, all that
products.
stuff. Yes.
Yeah, I've been hearing about it.
Like she's over 40 now. So she still wants to look 30. And Korea is the place where these women go. I'm like, I'll go check out the DMZ. I'll go check out, some Thai boxing exhibition. You go do your skincare stuff.
Baldy, this is your level of awesomeness. Someone in the chat, K Red, said, I'm kind of wishing I was a woman just so I could have a shot at being Baldy's girlfriend.
You're the greatest, dude.
Yeah. Thanks, cuz.
You're
Thanks,
the
guys.
greatest, brother. You're the greatest.
All right, BG.
All right, when you get home, man, we got to do one night before you leave.
We'll connect.
All right?
Yeah, in fact, I'll be back, cuz I already know. Like I start July 25th, but I'll be back July 23rd.
Perfect.
So we'll get together before I start.
Perfect.
Okay. See you
Thanks,
guys.
brother.
If you need me, if you want me for this, I'll do it on my phone from Korea or Japan if you want.
Oh, yeah.
We got to do it. Yeah.
We did it. Didn't we do it from
Rome? We did it from Italy.
Did we do it from Italy last year?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
we'll do it this year.
Got to do
All right,
it.
we'll do the annual trip.
I love you, brother.
I
You're
see
the
you.
greatest.
See you, cuz.
The best. Baldy.